Can I say some of the songs that I like? This is one of the songs that I like. Ooh. This song I like, man. Come, Parkin, come on. All right, all right. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Yeah. All right. So some of the songs that I like. I don't know if they would be the video will be stopped because it will be have in the background music. There will be songs that are copywritten. It does. Let's see. Let me turn this down. This song I'm not a big fan of. Anyhow, the what I wanted to express is wow, I didn't know, and I have to look into this even further, that there is so many artists out there producing non-copywritten material that everyone can use. That is, wow, an amazing idea, a fascinating idea. The only thing that sometimes stumps me is why, I mean, not only why, how did we, the ones that listen to the radio, the replay of the songs, if you, let's say, doing something, painting or doing whatever work that you can actually somewhat listen to the music that's on a radio station, on the radio waves, that I guess as human beings, the repetition that, I guess even the songs that one time you don't like and the second time maybe you do, and the repetition of the songs and the playlists, and I don't know, did we get used to it? I mean, I guess I like most of the songs. It just, same thing with like politicians being picked. How do the songs or the songwriters, how do they get to be at a place where, at a position where they're so much liked, then that they are being put through the rotation of one of their songs off or of their album is played over and over, and certain others don't. Maybe we as human beings, the repetition, huh? I mean, I hate to, I guess maybe we do need to be reminded of things. I guess we do need to be reminded. I guess so. And where was I heading with this? We do need to be reminded of things. And in some way, I don't like repeating myself. So when you hear me repeat myself, I don't know, I hope you are understanding it in a different way, or understanding it I hope it's in a positive manner. That's what I would like to present myself as. Not necessarily a upbeat speaker, just a not mundane. I hope I'm not mundane. a positive speaker, hopefully inspirational. You have yet to. I don't want to talk. What did I want to talk about? Let me pause this for a second. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, boys and girls, let me tell you, one of my, I don't know why I'm saying this. Why would I say this? People don't really open up to, why am I opening up so much? One of my dreams is, well, was, I don't know if it still is, because one of my dreams was to speak, to be a great speaker, to speak and fill in an arena. I don't know how huge arenas are. I don't know, 20, 40, 50,000 people, 100,000 people. I don't know. Maybe not that huge. No, just smaller. Like, I don't know, 5, 10,000, or start my own religion called the religion a speaker religion, free speech religion. What was there was another point to this. That hold on, hold on. Yes, I just reminded myself. I was supposed to speak to the monetary system and to free markets and free. Well, I'm sure many of you free government, and a lot of the politicians wouldn't like to see self-governance. I in my opinion, the Constitution is a perfect example of self-governance, of a system of self-governance. That's why it's so great. But I wanted to go back to who pays those people when you get things for free. And do not get, there's some news that is actually negative news, or not necessarily upbeat or positive news. There's many positive things that happen daily. It just maybe doesn't, it gets reported on some magazines. It's not necessarily on screen, and many of the things that are maybe reported on is just some negative things that might be going on in your area, in your city, in your state, in your country. Where was I getting at with this? Hold on. Oh yeah, free things. Why do I have a tough time answering this question? That yes, something free will be discarded, thrown to the side, and if you pay for it, you will value it. Now, the way I understand it to be, that the European system is a system where there's a lot of waiting for doctor visits, and there's long lines, and I don't know what if somebody has an emergency. I assume there's a emergency room in Europe. I wonder how it is in other countries. Yeah, like I said, oh yeah, the Great Wall of China, the Indian people. I would love to go to India one day, and big China. Oh my God, Japan. Wow. I mean, in the middle of the city, the zebra, the crosswalk, and there's just must be like 5,000-10,000 people crossing at one point in time, and I would just stand there, or be at a certain floor, and then magnificently absorb all that, the commute, I guess. I understand it to be China is building, is putting. I see. I forget things. What is it? A million people a day or a month or whatever it was that are coming out of that are seem to be going to from the farming suburban areas or factories or what they do over there and going into the looking for jobs into the city. So so China is growing the cities as well. Yeah, I wonder if there's a vehicle, if there is a mode of transportation that can run on water. Let's just say that'll be cool. Just that'll be the coolest. That'll be child dream come true. To have something run on water. That'll be nice, huh? Maybe not necessarily, right? We'll burn all the water up. There's always a catch for everything. And all of the drilling and all of the fracking and supposedly we are some lakes drinking water is there's something I heard a long time ago that I guess it's more in the Far East, whereas obviously we're human beings, we need water to before food, I mean to survive. And where was I getting at? And hold on. Yeah, so I think it goes on in the more in the East, whereas I've heard this somewhere. I don't know if it's some, like I said, some theory from sucked from the thumb of somebody. Whereas if a company, if there is a water source, there usually is a company that either or buys that piece of land and is turned into a company and is no longer available for free use of the close the public. So I don't know, companies, free market system is the way to go. I heard it in a different way. I just can't remind what it was. What way was it said? Free market system and the economy. No, the where it said that the government should step away and be not so bureaucratic, whereas there's countries that you could register companies in a couple hours or online even, where the back office there's less bureaucracy. There's certain countries that are protective of their state-run or state-run companies, where they're afraid of competition. Maybe in a way, I do see government as being maybe sometimes a mediator. I don't know if a mediator. I'm sure a word is gonna if it's not already entered into our vocabulary that I didn't read on or see or watch or didn't make up myself. I'm sure there is going to be a word for this. I mean, the English language has over 1 million words, so maybe this is something that's coined already. I mean, what I hear is that government should get out of the way of the companies. There's certain companies that are so huge that, and I mean, don't get me wrong, I love big companies and I love small companies, and I mean, I would love to find a way to have the middle class, the biggest portion of the population of the pie, to be actual business owners and producers on a be a bigger player in a huger scale. What I've seen so far, I mean, I went to a mom and pop place and I paid, oh gosh, it was my wife's birthday, and I paid, God darn it, I mean, I paid $80 for those flowers. I mean, it came with vases, but I overpaid. At the same time, that's what I felt like doing at that time and in that city that I live in, and just recently transferred to. And just recently, I got hurt by a company. I did a short video of fixing an alternator. I bought it from a local gentleman who's been in business for a long time. I mean, I don't think his wife is what you call that place a mom and pop place, you know, small business owner, single operator, or what have you. And I got burnt. He's also a friend of the family, and I've previously bought the items from him, and they've worked just fine. But this time I got hurt, and all I wanted to hear from him is, the car broke down. It was in the evening, and it was like 4:00, and he was leaving his workshop at, I forget what it was, 4:30 or 5. He's like, yeah, come down. I will wait for you, or I will have it. I don't think he waited for it. I think he closes at 4:30 or 5 anyway. So I made it there. He gave me the alternator. So it was already, let's just say, 5 o'clock. I don't remember. Get back home, obviously take the old alternator out. And what had occurred, this vehicle had an onboard computer, and it said, the first thing that happened was, it was very interesting. This is, I have not had such a electronically advanced vehicle before. It has an onboard computer, and it actually, you don't need to plug in a different computer to find out what's wrong with your car, because it just tells you what's wrong with me. And it showed that showed the battery light came on, showed the actual battery plus and minus, and it said on the middle on the screen, it said charging system service. So I assumed I was just running on battery. The alternator cut off, burnt out, died, or what have you. And then And hold on, what was I talking about? Yeah, the alternator. So I get the alternator home at about 5. I start working before I start preparing everything, getting the tools. Having some friends come over, help me fix it or whatever. We obviously, you start with taking off the negative cables. I mean the negative cable, then the positive cable. When you go to put it back on, when you're finished with doing it, the way I learned it and understand it to be is the red cable, you connect it first, and then the negative cable second. And then well, obviously we disconnected the negative and the positive terminal from the battery. Proceeded on replacing the alternator, which we had to put in a sorry, these numbers are going to get me right now. 3/4, I don't know, 5/8, whatever it was, tool to loosen the tensioner on the belt, take the belt off, and then there was 3 bolts, 3 screws that were 15s. It was a tight spot, but it's an American car, so it was fairly easy to work on. I mean, I'm sure at the big box dealerships they would charge you for, I don't know, 1.5 hours to take or 2 hours to take the alternator out and to put the alternator back in, and then obviously putting in reverse order, putting everything back on and reconnecting to the battery. When we did finish all this, we turned on the vehicle, and I mean, I thought it was fixed. I mean, I was happy. I just parked it and started cleaning up my tools, and drove down from the ramps and just parked it and looked in the dash, and it was good, and went on doing the cleaning up my tools and so on and so forth. And while I finished that, I come back, and it was running maybe like 5, 10, 15 minutes max, and I look inside, and the battery light is back on, and it says again, along with other codes which also appeared before when the original alternator blew. I forget the other codes, but it said again, charging system service. Oh God! So I panicked because I was sure. I mean, I was sure the alternator was good. I thought I had a bad. I don't know what do you call the main computer, is a ECM or what have you. I thought I had some problems with the car, other than the alternator. And then I obviously called up my the small mom and pop shop place. It was it must have been around 9 or so, or what have you. And I don't know who I called first, but I called also a couple technicians or what have you, and I said that, I put in a new alternator and it's the same thing again. And I don't know. I guess the answer was that I should get another alternator. And then I called the gentleman that the friend of the family that I got the alternator from. I called him and said that his alternator was defective. And man, I'm making this story long. Is this? I'm sure that. Oh God, I'm speaking like I don't know. Are you guys enjoying this? I'm speaking like if I haven't spoken, never spoken before, and I'm just trying to get everything out there. Anyhow, the gist. I mean the. I'm almost through. Anyhow, next day, I mean I called the guys, tell them it's 9:15 or whatever. Tell them is something's up. It might his alternator might be defective. He's like, okay, I'll be there, 8:30 in the morning, and this is, I don't know if I should. Oh God, I've been in the nah, I don't want to talk about it. Anyhow, all I wanted was, well, he said he would come. He came, and he's an older gentleman, so obviously, I was, as a child, I was taught to, sir, ma'am, mister, and lady, and I was taught to respect somebody older than me, and to agree or disagree or what have you, but to do it in a respectful manner. And where it came down, he was just, well, he's that's just the way he is. He's that kind of person. And it's not that he was disrespectful, it's just that, making jokes, this, that, what have you. And then we found online, or it was actually for a different type of vehicle when I looked into it later, but there was a fuse going from the alternator to between the alternator and where does that red cable? Was it a red cable? It was a red cable. It has a fuse on it. He's like, oh, and it's that fuse. It's actually so huge. It's factory riveted in. So I started with heating up a razor and making cuts, and then I took making holes and making cuts, and then I finally took like a little professional piece of tool or tools that I had, and I opened that thing up, even though it was factory riveted. I opened up one end of it, so, and exposed and looked inside, and it exposed was the factory made 200 amp fuse, which was good. It was not burnt, so I didn't have to. I called him up and I said, listen, and it's not like that he knew during the conversation. Oh, because obviously, when somebody sells you something, you expect it to be good, and then if something is new and shiny, you expect it to be good, and if it's not, you start looking for other problems. But when you have an onboard computer, it still tells you what is still wrong. So he asked me while we're standing in the first day. Obviously the first day. It's the first time he came, because he came also later in the afternoon to show me the fuse where it was and take out the battery, and like, oh, how slow you are. I thought you were quicker. I could do this so fast. Anyhow, so the first time he came in the morning at 8:30, the way he spoke to me, and he's like, well, what if the alternator is bad? What are you gonna do next? And I'm like, I don't know. No, he didn't say nothing about the alternator being bad. He said it in a different way. But it concluded to, what are you going to do next since this took place? And I'm like, I'm going to go and get another alternator and put it in. because I have, since that morning, well, I always call him first. I mean, I don't call around for look for prices. I don't know why, because I just figured he would just give me the best deal. And it comes out to be that the American chain of automotive parts, and I'm going to just name a few, I don't know, free commercials, or I don't know what this is, but I'm just telling a story. O'Reilly gives, for $120, gives a lifetime warranty. I like O'Reilly, and I don't know why I said them first. I've used Advanced Auto before O'Reilly came to town, and I've used Advanced Auto, and obviously there's Napa, and there's a few other places, Acme, that I've not used in a long time, even though having the discount card. I don't know if they're around. I gotta find that discount card. Gotta use it. The New Mechanics discount card. So, getting back to it, most of them had it for under $120, 17, 19, 20, whatever. O'Reilly came with a lifetime warranty. And the others, I'm sure there was a year warranty or what have you on it. These things should not break. Alternators should not break. They go on factory. They go on for 100, 200,000 miles. There's no problem with them. So in the morning, I called and the day before he told me, I'm like, so how much is it? And previously I've gotten another alternator from him, and it was $80, and this one happened to be $120. But the time before I didn't call, nobody around, and then the second time I didn't call, nobody around either. But the second day of the repair, I did call around, and it was the same. He gave me the same price. I felt that he always should have given me a better price. At the same time, the competitors came to be, well, they're not small mom and pop places. They are, bigger. And like I said, I like using small business owners. Sometimes it's just not convenient, and I don't know why. It's just more expensive and not convenient, and it takes you 2 days to fix an alternator that should have been fixed the first time. So yeah, in the morning he says, "What are you gonna do next?" I'm gonna go buy an alternator. Oh, and after I called around.